What's up, Hockey Think Tankers? Welcome to Short Shifts Wednesday, sponsored by Skate Tech. Skate Tech skate sharpening and equipment repair brings you NHL quality service at an affordable retail price. With over 24 years of sharpening equipment customizing experience, Skate Tech serves as your personal equipment manager, providing the highest quality skate sharpening, blade profiling, team uniforms, and equipment alterations available on the market today. Let Skate Tech help you take your on-ice performance to the next level with the edge the pros trust. Check them out at skatetechsharpening.com.
What's up, everybody? How we doing? If it's Wednesday, happy Wednesday. We are pumped for this Short Shifts episode. 10 minutes are on the clock. Jeff Lavecchio has no idea what the topic is going to be, but should he choose to accept this challenge, we are going to have some fun today. Vex, do you accept this 10-minute challenge?
Always.
All right. I want to talk about small group training on the ice. Okay. I want to talk about small group training as it relates to player development. And let's say you have a group of 4 to 6 players and you're a development coach, you're a skills coach. How can you best get return on investment in the 45 minutes to an hour that you get with these 4 to 6 kids? What are some things that you should be focusing on? What are some different areas? What are some different ways that you can prepare your practice plan for these 4 to 6 kids? You know, you played pro hockey. There's a lot of small group, individual-ish type stuff that goes on before and after practice with coaches. Give me a little bit of a sense of what you think is important to do in small group training.
I mean, I would say, A, you've got to stratify it by age and what they should be knowing at that level and be competent in. I would say, B, if you can stratify it by position, right? So if you could have all forwards together, or you have forwards and D together, and then they're working on things where they're going against each other, it kind of depends on the makeup of it. I would also say, if it's possible, if you really want to be dialed, you need to watch those players' video. You need to watch at least one game, but obviously if you can do more than that, and see what are they good at, what are they not good at. Like if you really, really want to be good, you dial in the video, you see what they need to work on, and then you create the plan based off of the skills that they need help on. If you don't have that luxury, you don't have that ability with their first session or something like that, I would look at, okay, what's the age? What's the level they're playing at? What do they need to be good at? And I would base it off of, probably working on some skating, working on drills with passing, work on the details in passing. Like when you're saucing the puck, it's always flat. I've had the luxury of having John Lounsbury work with a lot of my pro guys now for years, and Adam Oates with some other guys. And I talk to them nonstop. I had an NHLer who trains with me online, who was in St. Louis this past week, who works with Oates. And we talked about all the little details that they focus on in their summer skates that Oates is telling them what to do. And it's not the crazy, sexy stuff that you guys think it is. It's a lot of details, a lot of high repetition of the small details over and over and over. I would also make sure it's engaging for the players, especially if they're younger. You want them to want to be there. You want them to want to come back. So that's part of it. But yeah, I would stratify by age, by skill level. I would focus on the details. I would try to hit skating, shooting, and passing for sure. And then the little details with high reps of like picking a puck up off the wall, scanning in all of your drills, quality passing, and what does that look like, and what does that mean? And then skating and shooting, at a very basic level of what I would break it down to.
Yeah, makes sense. I'll go a step further here, and I've had the opportunity to work with, just some unbelievable people with this, like Brian Kane, who I'm really close with. He's the director of skill development for the Blackhawks now. Nar was that with the Red Wings. Now he's in Michigan. Barry Smith, like Lounsey, you talked about. Adam Nicholas, who's head of player development. I don't know what his actual title is with Montreal, but he's a huge part of the reason why they've had so much success lately. And I think obviously it's age appropriate, right? Like I think when you get the younger kids, it's about maximizing reps and it's about having fun, and making sure that the kid wants to come back. But that's similar with the older people too. But when you get older, I think the focus on the details really matters. It really does matter. And each drill has to have a clear objective. There has to be, it's not just doing a rep just to do a rep. And the best coaches, especially when you get really, really high up into college, pro, they will watch the video, and they will find different situations in a game that you are in quite a bit, and again, if you can do this, like you said, 4D, like that can really help to maximize the oomph of the rep, but clear objectives on what is the thing that we're trying to work on. And as a coach, we have to clearly communicate that to the players. What is the detail that we're working on here? And then you can also, as a coach, understand, as you're going through the practice, and this is where a little bit coaching is more of an art form than it is a science. But one of the things that these really good coaches are doing is they're manipulating the failure and the success rate of the different reps that you're doing. And they're using progressions to do that. So you might have, the first part of the drill, there's not a lot of pressure. And this is why I like doing things in small groups instead of just like one-on-one type training, is because hockey is a read and react game. So when you're doing these types of things in small groups, like finding a way to create read and react situations where a player is going to have to make a decision similar or the same to the ones that they will be having in the game, And so you can manipulate failure and success rates based on the amount of players that you have on there, where you're putting a defender versus an offender, and how much time and space that you're giving the offensive player. There's a lot of things that you can do to kind of, I said manipulate that a lot. And so I just be very conscious about when you're doing small group stuff, read and react situations, and how much failure or success, how hard do you want this drill to be? Do you want it to be a really good success rate? Do you want it to be more challenging where they're going to have to fail and learn? Use progressions to be able to do that. So I think that's really big. And then the last thing I'll say too is gamify it. Every drill, gamify it if you can. And have a winner and have a loser. If you have 6 players, it's, 3 versus 3, or maybe you have 3 forwards and 3D and you do a drill. It's the forward versus the D, whatever. Or it could be just individual, like whoever has the most success, gets this, has to do 5 push-ups, and whoever is number 6 has to do 30 push-ups. It's five increments. So find a way to gamify it, I think goes a long way, but it has to start with a clear objective. The players have to know what it is that we're working on. And then as you get older, it should be much more detailed and much more similar to what they're going to see in the game.
I love that. I love the clear objective thing. I think that is so important, because my gyms are all in rinks. So I see and have seen for years tons of quote unquote skills coaches out there with players at all different ages and levels, from the NHL down to 5-year-old kids out there at 5 a.m. with a skills coach. And you need to have the objective, because then you need to tell the player if that was what you were looking for or not, because that should be based off of if that's going to work in a game or not, or you're building the skill or not. So if you just let them go and they don't know if they've done it correctly, how can you coach them how to do it the right way, which is going to lead to more success in games? If there's no objective, there's no grading scale, you have to be able to have that and tell them, this is how we want it done. This is why, and telling players the why, man. I mean, I know we talk about this all the time, and I feel like so many more coaches understand this now. But I mean, I've worked with thousands and thousands of kids in person the last 19 years. All right. When you teach them why you're doing something the way you're doing it, they buy in more. They understand the concept more. They're going to get it faster, and they're going to try to do it the correct way, because now they know why or how that is going to apply to them in their life or the game of hockey. So it's like, it's really important to have these things, or else you're just doing things to do things. And these skill sessions are almost always things that mom or dad are paying for on the side, or it's extra part of your fee you're paying for the club. We want the players to get the most out of the money that they're spending. So make sure you're doing this if you're doing things on the ice this way.
Yeah. And I would say too, kind of to go along with that, I think like coaching is a two-way street, so like when you get older, a great thing to do is, don't ask them day of, but maybe shoot the player a text or players a text. Hey, what do you guys want to work on tomorrow? And then that way you're able to kind of formulate a plan based on some of the things that you wanted to do, some of the things that they wanted to do, and ask them questions. Like that's one thing in small groups that I think is great, because it's a little bit more intimate, is have the players coach each other. hey, what did you see about what little Johnny did in this situation? How would you have done it differently? Or what did you love about that rep that Jeff just did? Like have them kind of coach each other. That's, I think if you can do that, that's extra credit. That gets you a gold star on your homework assignment in sixth grade.
Huge, dude. I mean, in the gym, I do that all the time with the youngest players. I tell them something I want them doing. I pick out a kid who did it exactly how I want it. And then I'll put them in front of the group and I'll say, all right, Johnny, do it again. Everybody watch Johnny. And I won't give too much specifics. I'll say, okay, what did Johnny do here really, really well? They got to raise their hand because I don't want them all talking over each other. All right, did you hear what she said? Did you hear what he said? All right, who saw that? Anybody else have anything else? Why that was really good? And then we go over it. And then we go, okay, now you do it like that. Kids are really visual learners too. I mean, obviously with phones and iPads and TVs and all these things, and I'm not going outside that much, right? They're visual learners. So the more that you can show them the correct thing and have them a part of the learning process where it's not just do this and hey, why did that work? Why did that not work? Like you're saying here, man, it's really, really powerful. And the way that you coach an NHL player is not going to be the same uptake in the information and their ability to do it right away. And you're going to have to teach them differently than a 10-year-old and a 16-year-old. And so finding what works at the age level you're working with is also something you want to be cognizant of as a skills coach and make sure that they're getting it. If they're not getting it, I always say this to my guys all the time. If almost everyone in the room does it wrong, that was coach's fault. That was me. I didn't coach it right. I didn't teach it right. If you all did it the way I don't want you to. So now I've got to find a better way, so also something to be cognizant of as a coach. You can't have too big of an ego and be like, well, I said it the way you should have all figured it out. Well, they didn't all get it. You didn't do a good job coaching it. Right. Like I always think about that from school. If everybody failed the test, odds are you didn't do a good enough job teaching what was on the test, going to be on the test because everyone failed.
Yeah. Yeah, or the material was too hard, too advanced for where they're at in their development process.
There's a disconnect
which
there.
As a coach, you have to realize too, and that's on you.
Yep.
No question. All right, so hopefully you guys, if you're a coach, particularly a skill coach too, you can take something out of this and use it. But good stuff, X. I like it. Good combo.
Woo. See you guys
Thumbs
next
up,
week.
baby.